Hey guys, this is Alex, and I know it's late, and quite frankly, I should not be awake right now. I'm a medical student. I should be asleep right now. But the reason that I'm awake right now is because as a medical student, um, we just got a mass email from um, basically our student government president warning us of what is about to happen in the House of Representatives and more specifically um, within the House of Representatives um, on the oh gosh, what was the name of the committee? Um, well, basically, it's about the Prosper Act, and you guys might have heard about this. It's the very controversial um, one of the many controversial bills that Republicans are trying to pass right now. And I don't want this to turn into anything political. It has nothing to do with politics, but this is a bill that's about to go before the House Education and Workforce Committee. And it's super important because one of the provisions within this bill will be taking away graduate plus loans, and it stipulates that graduate loans will be capped at $28,500 a year. Um, Now, some of you might be thinking, "Hey, that's a great idea." Student loan debt is a huge problem right now. It's completely out of control, and you know what? You're right. Fiscal responsibility is a huge issue right now, and more accurately, the lack thereof is a huge issue right now. But this doesn't address that problem. This only serves to cripple our future as a country. And here's why. So, if you have a cap of $28,500 in loans, basically what that means is that is the max that I can borrow from the government in order to pay my tuition. So that's that. It's a fact, that's the limit. The problem is my tuition for just one semester of medical school is roughly $24,000. So basically what that means is I am left with 4,000 under this new stipulation, this new proposed bill. I would be left with $4,500 to pay for food, rent, gas, test prep materials, the tests themselves, which are $600 plus. All of these things are so expensive, and they're all investments. I understand that. This is all money that I was planning on spending. This is all things that I was planning on doing, and it's important to kind of accept as a medical student that I'm going to be incurring this debt and carrying that with me going forward. And I accepted all of that. I accepted all of that responsibility when I decided to come here and when I decided to pursue what I was trying to pursue. And that's all fine and dandy, but right now they are saying that the maximum amount of loans that I would be able to take out is $28,000 for an entire year. What I told you was my semester tuition at Marion. So I pay $24,000 a semester. In purely in tuition, that has nothing to do with other associated student fees. That doesn't include my exams that I have to take to become, eligible to even go out into my third and fourth year rotations, to pass boards, anything like that. None of that is included in that cost. So I would have, even if I was able to squeak by for that first semester with that $28,500, I would have literally zero money to pay for the entire second semester. And Marion is one of the more affordable schools. There are schools out there that would not even be able, you wouldn't be able to cover your first semester's tuition alone with that money. And that's a huge issue because medical school is already so far out of reach financially for a lot of people. I paid almost 6,000, actually I paid over $6,000 just to apply. And I was very lucky because I had a job. I had a good job. I had been working at, a country club for a couple of years. I'd worked my way up to a managerial position with a higher pay rate, and I worked like a bunch of hours, and I got a lot of overtime. I did pretty well for myself that summer. I was working 72-hour weeks, and that was the money that, like, almost 100% of that money went to me applying to medical school. That went to application fees, that went to traveling expenses, hotel rooms, all of these things that cost an absurd amount of money for a medical student. Um, and it just blows my mind that that this is even happening right now, because what we're looking at is a generation of doctors that cannot afford to be doctors and will be dropping out of medical school if this passes. So what I'm pleading from all of you is, please, please, please contact your representatives. Please, please, please reach out and tell people this is a bad idea. Acknowledge, yes, we need student debt reform. We need student loan reform in a big way in this country. But just please implore your representatives that this is not the way to do it, because this affects us in the future. We have a bunch of, 60, 70-year-old men controlling our generation's future with the decisions that they're making right now, and they are about to make one that will negatively impact our generation for the rest of our lives. If we have an entire generation of doctors who cannot afford medical school and cannot pay tuition and cannot register for classes, that is going to lead to a doctor shortage. That doctor shortage is going to have adverse health effects on our entire country, because our doctors are going to be spread thin. We might not have as many specialists as we need, and people are going to be dying because they aren't getting the care that they need. So this transcends so much farther than reforming student loan debt. This is something that could excuse me. This is something that could theoretically be ruining our country for a very, very long time. I don't care if you are a Republican and you are of the mindset, hey, we need to do something about this, and doing something is better than nothing. No, right now doing nothing is better than this. Right now doing nothing is less damaging to our future as a country than doing this. And if you are someone who believes in fiscal conservatism, all of this has gone out the window. Whatever budget was just passed or whatever just completely blew away any idea that any party in this country stands for fiscal responsibility anymore. So you need to start standing for what is good for this country. You cannot abide by party lines anymore. Like, this issue is way too important to get caught in the mud between Democrat, Republican, liberal, conservative, what have you. I don't care what your political leanings are. This bill has the potential to ruin our country if it is passed. So tomorrow is the day that they are going to be, well, I guess now it's today because it's almost 1 o'clock in the morning here Eastern time. So today's the day. You need to get on the phone with your reps, particularly if you have a conservative representative who is likely in support of this bill because they're voting by party lines because they're afraid to lose their donor support and their party support, whatever, because they want to get reelected. You need to call them and say, I am a constituent and this is going to screw up our country. I do not support it and I want you to vote against this bill. So what I'm going to do for you guys is, once I finish this live stream, I'm going to try to find some links to web pages where you can find the information to contact your representatives. It's going to be down below in the description. Guys, this cannot happen. This will absolutely ruin our country. This will ruin our medical education system. This will ruin so many things that, these politicians could not have thought this much into it, because if they had, or if they had talked to anybody, in, the graduate medical education system, they would have realized how terrible of an idea this is. And our overseeing organization, AACOM, has some serious concerns. They've voiced those concerns. They're going through their channels. But ultimately, guys, this is going to come from the people, and we need to spread the word. So do what you can. You need to share this video. You need to put it on every single social media site you have. You need to tell your friends that if they want to have a doctor in the future to replace the doctor that they have now that's going to retire at some point, then they need to make sure that their senator, their representative, whoever the representative that's going to be voting on this measure is, they need to shoot it the hell down. There's no way that this can pass and make us a stronger country. It's just, it can't. You can argue that, students are going too far with their education, and, they're getting masters and things because they need a master's to get an entry-level job, and that it's just a huge waste of money. And you might be right about that. You might be right that our country has gone too far to a point that we do need like a master's degree to just to get an entry-level job, and that it's irresponsible to make someone pay for 4 years of undergrad and then 1 to 2 years for another master's degree on top of it just to get an entry-level job. And I would agree with you that that is irresponsible of this country, but that is not what this bill is fixing. This bill does not address that at all. All it does is cut the funding and tell people, hey, we're discouraging you from doing this unless you have the means to do it by yourself. So, unless you are sitting on a pile of money and you can pay out of pocket for your education, this bill is going to screw you. And especially if you're looking into a job where you do need some kind of higher degree other than just a bachelor's or an associate's, you need to be looking out for your future. You need to be proactive. And as a generation, we can't just be apathetic and say, you know what, we'll fix these problems when we're in charge, because it's going to be way too late by then. By the time that we have someone our age eligible to be president, by the time we're 35, this country is going to be screwed over. And we need to do something about it now before we, watch the collapse of this country so we can make it to the age of 35. Excuse me. But basically, guys, this can't stand. It's the Prosper Act, and it's anything but prosperous. We're watching the implosion of our education system right now, and you can say whatever you want. This has nothing to do with like Betsy DeVos or an appointment or anything like that. There's no infighting to be had about this. This is a purely, American issue right now. This is the party in power saying we need a political win, and we're going to do what we need to do that. And that's what they have to do. That's how politics work. But we as the American people need to say, you know what, I don't care about my party affiliation. This bill is garbage. These measures are absolutely trash, and this is going to screw us as a country, and we're not okay with it. So please, guys, stand up, share this video, make people aware of the fact that the healthcare sector is about to be affected by this. Most people are thinking, this only affects, like Masters of Art History students or something stupid like that, and that's not the case at all. Anybody who's doing anything past their undergraduate education is being affected by this right now, unless they're getting their education paid for, and there's some people who have that opportunity, and good for them. I hope they give back once they get into the real world, and they can have their degree and make life better for other people, and I hope they do that. But for now, we need to fight for ourselves. We need to fight for our own, I wouldn't say rights, but our own privileges. If we want to have these privileges, we need to fight for them. I consider going to medical school a privilege. It's a very expensive privilege, and it's an expense that I was responsible for incurring, and I was ready to do that. But we need to stand up and say something. We can't just sit idly and say, hey, we'll fix this later. We can't just wait, for another couple of years until the president leaves office and Congress turns over and say we're just going to fix these things now. Because if someone can't afford medical school for even a semester and they have to drop out, that's one doctor that could be treating people for the rest of their life that isn't in medical school. And that's a huge issue. So that's it, guys. I'll post all of the links that I promised in the description before I go to bed. But please share this video. Have your family share this video. Have your friends share this video. It's super important that people realize exactly what this bill is going to do to healthcare and how it's going to impact our future as a country. So again, I hate to be doom and gloom. I try to be as optimistic on this channel as possible, but right now it's a pretty doom and gloom time. So I'm sorry that I can't spin this in a positive way. I'm sorry that this isn't sunshine and rainbows, but we need to stand up and take action. And if I'm going to use this as a platform to advocate for you guys as pre-med students or other med students, then so be it. And that's what we're going to do right now. But anyway, if you guys want to find those links in the box below, subscribe, whatever you want to do. But more importantly than anything else, share this video. This needs to get around. People need to see this. So anyway, have a great night, guys. I'm going to try to sleep on this, but who knows how that's going to go. So anyway, take care, and I'll post the links on the video in a second.